The Defensive Player of the Year is one of the most prestigious awards in the NBA. So prestigious that over 58% of all winners are Hall of Famers. It's an award that celebrates the greatest defenders of that season, and if you're able to win multiple, it solidifies you as one of the best of your era. But the Defensive Player of the Year is also one of the most diverse awards to win in the NBA, as there's a couple ways players can win it. And what I mean by this is that if you take a look at the past 5 winners, you can notice that they won the Defensive Player of the Year for completely different reasons. And I'll put them in categories to make it a little more clear. Alright, so here in this category is what I like to call the heavy rim protectors. They won the award for being incredible rim protectors and being deterrents for anyone attacking the rim. These guys normally rack up the block numbers around 2 a game while having some okay steal numbers, usually around 1 per game. And this is where you'd find Joakim Noah and Rudy Gobert. And in the next category is what I like to call the jack of all trades. This is where you'd find Draymond Green and Giannis. They both won their Defensive Player of the Year awards for being incredible help defenders, incredible pick and roll defenders, weak side from the court blocks. They have amazing defensive IQ and are very mobile and have the ability to switch out the guards for a possession or two. These guys normally have a pretty good split between the steals and block numbers, between 1.5 to 2 a game, but they're not the person you want to isolate on any single player the whole game. They're normally there just to create some type of dysfunction for the other team. And then in this next category is where I like to call the perimeter defensive guys. This, so far in the past 5 years, only has one person in it, and that's Kawhi Leonard. These are the guys that you put on the other team's best perimeter player. The guy that you put on the Steph Curry's, Damian Lillard, and LeBron James's. And in Kawhi's case, that's normally 1s, 2s, 3s, and sometimes even 4s. But mainly they're just there to hound the best perimeter player on the next team before they even get to the paint. They normally rack up the steal numbers around 2 a game, and while having some pretty good block numbers around 1 per game. But as you can see, all these guys, you can tell they have unique defensive skill sets that excel and help their team win in different ways. And while they're not slouches, there are certain defensive categories that they aren't elite in. Kawhi being not a great rim protector, Giannis and Draymond Green not being elite in, I guess, either category. Normally they're just really, really good in both. I guess you could say they're elite at being very versatile. And then you have the Rudy Goberts and Joakim Noahs that are great in the paint defenders, but you sweat a little bit when they're switched on to any perimeter player. But none of those deficiencies take away from how good they are in the other category. So, what happens when you have a guy who's elite in all of these categories? Well, then you get the guy that we're about to talk about today. What's up guys, this is FLB, back at y'all with another video. Today we're going to talk about Adebayo and his compelling case for Defensive Player of the Year. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It's the best way to help the channel grow, and I'd love to have y'all back. Now, Adebayo, after last year's breakout year and the Miami Heat Cinderella season, has taken his game to a whole other level. Because even with all the injuries and COVID safety protocols that Miami Heat had to go through the season, especially missing Jimmy Butler for a good amount of time, he has still been able to anchor them to the 7th best defense in the league and sports the 7th best personal defensive rating by any player in the NBA. So it's safe to say, he's an elite defender. But what makes Bam special is that all the categories I named before, Bam is either great or elite in every single defensive skill. From being a great rim protector to being an incredible switch and pick and roll defender to being an elite ISO and on-ball defender, there's not one defensive skill Bam is a slouch in. He's one of the only players, if not the only player, that excels in almost every single category when it comes to his defense. Which is why this year, he is 3rd in the Defensive Player of the Year voting. And this video isn't me saying Rudy Gobert or Ben Simmons doesn't deserve the award, because they do. This is just me saying that Bam's defensive versatility is more impactful than both of theirs. And for me to explain, let me start with the Utah Jazz's Rudy Gobert. Now, Rudy Gobert and Bam Adebayo may play the same position, but they played completely different. As Bam may not be as elite of a rim protector as Rudy Gobert, he's no slouch in that area. But Bam brings something that I feel is of much more value in this situation, and that is Rudy Gobert's worst nightmare: being on an island on anyone below the height of 6'10". a style of defense where Bam is one of the NBA's best, as his quick foot speed and switchability makes him probably one of the worst defensive players to go up against. And while you shouldn't evaluate a player's value on what they can't do or what they're not good at on the court, it's really hard to do that when, in Rudy Gobert's greatest value and skill, rim protecting, Bam and Adebayo and him are only separated by 1.4% when it comes to at the rim defensive field goal percentage. While Bam provides a whole other level of defense, as he's able to switch up the guards and not just be a competent defender, but be one of the best perimeter defenders you'll probably find in this league. And while Bam does have Jimmy Butler, a top 5 perimeter defender in the league, on his team, there isn't any sole defensive player on the Heat other than them, and I guess maybe Andre Iguodala that comes off the bench. But Rudy Gobert on the Jazz has great perimeter defenders such as Joe Ingles, Royce O'Neal, and Donovan Mitchell. Some of the most underrated perimeter defenders in the league that makes his life a lot easier, as they do fight through screens to make sure he doesn't have to switch on to guards. And next, we have the guy that I think has the highest chance to win the award, Ben Simmons, who in the past 2 seasons has separated himself as one of, if not the league's best perimeter defender. While not as versatile as Bam, the difference that Ben makes on the perimeter is no laughing matter at all. As being 6'10", he's also able to help at the rim a lot. So he's also one of the league's most versatile defenders. But what's different between him and Bam is what I would say their defensive responsibilities and requirements on that end. Since Ben Simmons has some of the best defensive personnel in the league in Joel Embiid, who would be in this race also if he didn't miss a lot of time, Matisse Thybulle, who is probably one of the league's best younger defenders, Dwight Howard off the bench, Danny Green, and George Hill, who are really good perimeter defenders. So being on a team with that many great to elite defenders makes his job a lot easier and covers up a lot of his mistakes, which he does make, considering the fact that he does lead the lead in deflections and gambles a lot for steals on the other end. And again, while Bam does have Jimmy Butler, who is a top 5 defender in the league, Bam's defensive versatility and responsibility on that end is an incredible thing to watch. As with the amount of switching and help defense he plays nightly while staying on his feet to make sure he doesn't pick up any bad foul calls or allow guards to get to the rim, he plays such great defense with so minimal amount of mistakes is the reason why I have him as my defensive player of the year. Which there may be a little biased as I am a Heat fan, but he's held down our defense this entire season for a team that, honestly, with all the injuries, shouldn't even be in the playoffs. But to hammer home my point a little more, let me show you guys this table. These are some of the superstars Bam has had to guard this entire season. And if my words don't sway you, maybe this will. As look at the numbers. Bam Adebayo has been a torment for every single one of these guys. As even Bradley Beal said himself, he makes it a point to call for pick and rolls and switch on the other side of the court that Bam isn't on to make his life a lot easier, which is very high praise from a guy who's averaging 30 in his sleep. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do y'all think Bam is the defensive player of the year, or do you think Ben Simmons or Rudy Gobert deserves it more than he does? But if y'all enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. We do this a couple times a week, and I would love to have you back here. But with that being said, this has been FLB. That's my time, and I'm out.
Nigga, how much you made today? I put a pin in, but sick of my dinner plate. Me for a feature, like how much you finna pay. You don't have this up in your bitch like minute minute. No soul grounds or Kumi the Uti. Need a Chalomba, I need a Karushi. Bustin' for me like my name is Obuzi. Faded in the boom, my jelly, I nudie. Iki my show.